welcome to Inside EKU Sports, a production of EKU Athletics. I'm Greg Stottlemyre along with head football coach Mark Elder as the Colonels open the home portion of their season with a win over U-Pike, 55-14 a week ago Thursday. Coach, you forced 8 turnovers, 3 pick sixes. I know you're probably not happy with the penalty yards, but overall good night on opening night.
Yeah, we came in the second half and did some better things. Obviously, the first half wasn't how we wanted it to go. We had 3 turnovers in the first half. One of them was a touchdown for them, and total of 13 penalties, some things that we were not very excited about. And it was a big margin of victory, won by 40-something points. But really, when you want to look at being a championship-level team, you have to look at how was the process of getting to that victory. Were we performing at the highest level? Were we performing at what we're capable of? And I certainly didn't feel that we were. So we've got some things that we've got to get corrected with the 13 penalties, with the turnovers, if we want to be able to accomplish what we're capable of, which is to be a championship-level team. Let's
take you out to Roy Kidd Stadium, take a look at the highlights from that Thursday night opener before more than 11,000, and your defense cranked up 5 quarterback sacks in this game. The first one we'll see by your big guy inside, number 97 there, Avery Pitt.
Yeah, you know, the guys up front did a good job as far as winning their one-on-ones. We pressured the quarterback quite a bit, which was good to see, and that's something that you got to do. I mean, you're going to get blocked every single time as a defensive lineman, but you got to go win those battles. And there's a great example of Avery coming in, swatting at the football and causing a turnover as they were driving the field for us. So that was great to see.
Your rushing game cranked out 284 yards, the highest since 2014. You used both Onyenahi and Sanders.
Yeah, we had 220 yards at halftime, which was very positive. That was certainly a strength that we had as far as moving the ball, rushing the ball. So it was good to see Jared go out there and rush for 100 yards. Henlo did a nice job as far as running with power, running behind his pads, and Daryl McCleskey got a handful of carries as well.
U-Pike went up 14-7 here, the last after the defensive touchdown. After that, 48 in a row by Eastern Kentucky. And here is a run by Sanders that got you down near. He went to 100 yards in that game, and you really got a good spike. And he had a touchdown as well here.
Absolutely, and I'll say this, our running backs did a good job, but so did our offensive line and our receivers out on the perimeter on that Jared Sanders run you saw a second ago. You see the receivers out there doing a good job as far as sustaining their blocks on the perimeter, and that's oftentimes going to be the difference between getting a 6-yard gain, a 7-yard gain, and 26 or 27 yards.
L.J. Smith goes to quarterback, and he really gave you a spark.
Yes, you know, we were looking for a little bit of a spark in there. Just hadn't done what we needed to do offensively at that point in time. Weren't moving the ball like we wanted to, so we put LJ in there, and he's very dynamic with the ball in his hands. I mean, that's why we've got him playing wide receiver, because he's very good with the ball in his hands, and he provided a spark with that, both with his feet and throwing the ball around.
And now we go to the Pick Six Fest. The first one by Keontae Northington, then Corey Glass will get in on the touchdown party. Defenders love to score touchdowns.
No question. And both of those, actually all 3 of our touchdowns on defense were guys that executed what they're supposed to do well. Keontae had good vision in his quarters coverage and had number 2 receiver take him to the inside breaking route of 1 and got on that. Corey Glass played up the quarterback's eyes well, got into the passing window, and then this last one, Skidmore, he does a good job of mirroring the offhand of the quarterback, gets his hands in the air, tips the ball. Luter is right there pursuing to the quarterback and does a great job of diving and getting the pick 6. So all 3 of those guys did a good job of executing what we're asking them to do.
So it's a victory against a team out of NAIA. Everybody got a play. So what did you get out of the game? I know a lot on film to look at for one.
Sure. Well, again, we see things that we need to improve upon, certainly, but we did get a lot of guys in that game. We had a number of guys that played, which was good to see them going out and executing a game like situation so that you're getting the calls from the sideline and you have to adjust to what you're seeing. So a lot of guys got out there and got to show what they're capable of and show what they need to still work on. And so that was great to play a number of guys, because as the season goes, there's going to be injuries, there's going to be guys getting dinged up, and you want an opportunity to have that first experience before you get thrust into the situation where you got to play at a high level in a close game when it matters, and that's your first opportunity. So it's great to see a lot of those guys get out there.
Didn't play two of your quarterbacks due to injuries, two of your running backs as well, so good time to rest them and heal up as well.
Yes, we're expecting to see those guys back for this coming up week, which will be good to see both the quarterbacks back. Ethan should be back. So we're excited to get those guys back just to add depth and playmaking ability.
Congratulations on your first win.
Thank you.
All right, Mark Elder with his first win. It was the home game opener against U-Pike. Mark will be back later in the show to talk about the upcoming opponent, Ball State. But first, what it takes to go on the road with the Colonels.
Well, I have a lot of roles as the director of football operation, but right now during the middle of the season, my primary role is travel and getting everything together for whenever we go on the road, and both home game and away games. I usually start in November and December trying to book places that we've stayed before. Obviously, we want to stay at places that we've stayed at before because it's much easier. We know the layout and how the hotel looks. The big challenges are whenever you play an out-of-conference game when you've never been there before. We were fortunate whenever we played Purdue, we stayed there in 2012, the same hotel. But there's some challenges when looking budgetarily and space-wise for our needs. The number one rule whenever we travel that I put on all my travel manuals I send to the hotels and the chefs is we cannot run out of food. And places we've been at understand that. That's why when you're looking for places, you want to deal with places that have done teams before, other teams from different places. That's the number one thing, is don't run out of food. And the second thing is putting together a menu that is good both nutritionally and prepares them for the game. Well, equipment usually starts on Thursday. We have 3 different loops that the guys have. They have a workout gear, a workout loop, a practice loop, and then a game day loop. So we practice on Friday, but we pick up the equipment truck on Thursday and start packing the majority of our stuff on Thursday. So Friday we practice, and as soon as that practice is done, we've got to get everything loaded onto the bus and onto the equipment truck and ready to go. We just recently, very thankful that we were able to hire a full-time equipment manager. We just recently hired Miles Seibert, who's going to be in charge of, he's our equipment coordinator. I've been doing it since I got here in 2011, so having him is helpful. So me and him kind of work together, but having somebody full-time down there to make sure that everything's taken care of takes a load off me, and it's better for us as a program. Well, the reason why I got into this profession is somebody, when I was in high school, helped me get to where I was. When I was in college, somebody helped me get through that time and helped me get to where I am today. So the biggest reason why I still do this is, one, I love the game of football. That's the reason why I do it. And the second thing is just because to help young people, because somebody helped me. Like Keontae Northington, I saw him come in as a freshman, as a walk-on, and just see him work his way to a scholarship player, and just all the success that he's having and had is just real joyful, and it's rewarding for me.
Every day is a concept that few people can commit to. Every day requires a level of dedication that forces you to test your limits.
Every day I'll give back to the community because I draw strength from their support. Every day the sounds of your cheers will echo through my mind. Knowing that you have my back means I can always look forward.
Every day I'll be too tired to sweat and my bones will ache. Every day will provide me with the slight edge that I need to succeed. Champions are built every day.
He's a legend in track and field and cross country. Cross country coach Rick Erdmann joins us now on Inside EKU Sports. Rick, I started doing EKU football and basketball on the radio in September of 1979. You started as the track coach here a month earlier, and you have had it rolling ever since.
I was hired as the men's coach that year by Don Combs, who was the athletic director.
You were telling me you coached football before you really got into track, too.
Yeah, I actually played football and ran track, and I coached high school football in New Haven, Connecticut, and Western Pennsylvania. and before I took a job at Hagerstown Junior College as a track and cross country coach.
Your team is ranked 9th in the nation this year, the highest ranking ever, #1 in the Southeast Regional. You expect big things out of your team?
Well, we're very capable of being, an outstanding team. It's a very tough region. There are 49 teams in it, and it's dominated by ACC teams. Duke, North Carolina State, Virginia are all in our region. So we've been, competing in this region for a number of years. I'd much rather be in the South region, to be honest with you, because it's a lot lighter region. Let me put it that way. But no, it'll be a difficult challenge.
Last year, Jaime Escriche was an All-America, and Eric Rotich was the OBC Runner of the Year, and he has just been honored as the National Cross Country Runner of the Week. Rotich.
Yeah, Rotich was selected as National Cross Country Runner of the Week this past week. He won the Bluegrass Invitational. It wasn't a large field, but he'd beaten Jacob Thompson, who's an All-American at Kentucky, and that's probably one of the reasons he was awarded that honor, and I think that he's deserving.
The women are ranked 14th in the NCAA Southeast region, led by Charlotte Emmer, a sophomore.
Yes. Last year, the women were 5th in the region, and we were out without our #1 runner. She hit her head in a bicycle accident, so we didn't have her, but we did a good job, and hopefully, we can get back to that level with the women at the regional meet.
How do you do it? That's the question I've always wanted to know. How do you beat all the big schools? How do you sustain the success you've had? Like the men have won 10 OBC championships in a row.
Well, one of the things we do is we expose them to the high-level competition. We compete at a very high level in cross-country and track, and they aren't intimidated by the teams they compete against. I think that's one of the factors. We beat Illinois last week, who was 2nd in the Big Ten last year. So I think exposing them to that kind of competition, and that's one of the factors.
What will it take to improve upon very high finishes in the national meet for the men this year? What has to happen? Is it injury-free? Is it running as a team more than as an individual? What's the key?
Well, injuries are a factor. The injury thing can, kill you if you don't have depth. This year we have a little more depth than we've had in the past, but that's a factor. The other thing is getting them to work as a team and not necessarily compete against one another, but compete as a team and get them as close together as possible time-wise, so you don't have big gaps, where you have a 1.5-minute, 2-minute gaps. If you can get 5, 6, 7 guys relatively close together, that'll be a factor in the whole thing. I want to say in 2013, we had 5 guys who were in the top 25 at the regional, and that year we won it. We beat Virginia, who was 2nd, and on their course, and that was a big. But getting them, the team attitude is the key.
All right, Rick, proud of the cross-country program here, and good luck throughout this season. Looking for big things.
Thank you very much.
All right, that is Rick Erdmann, the head cross-country coach at EKU for both the men and women. Still ahead on Inside EKU Sports, Mark Elder will rejoin us to talk about the opponent on Saturday, Ball State, and one EKU student's success. It's all a balancing act.
10 seconds to go. Harper coming forward. Moves in top of the key. 6 seconds to go. The 3.
My name is Alia Baez. I am in the class of 2016. I am a chemistry pre-med major, and I was born and raised in Richmond, Kentucky, and my family is from Iran. I started out as biology, and it was really in those first chemistry gen eds that I became really interested in chemistry. There was just something about numbers and math, and I just thought that was fascinating, and I just really wanted to learn more. I would say it's very challenging. You have to really have a love for chemistry and a passion for learning. But if you really enjoy it and you really love it, it can be really rewarding. And then, of course, the jobs that you can get afterwards are all really cool. My personal formula for academic success would be I like to have a balance between science and the arts. And for me personally, dance is a big stress relief because it almost gives me like a little bit of a break. And there's just so many different things to get involved with at EKU. You know, I was interested in human rights and global issues, so I became president of the International Student Association. And from there, the honors program gave me the opportunity to travel to Salzburg, Austria for their Global Citizenship Conference. And it just really shows that from EKU, you can go anywhere.
Another FBS opponent for the Colonels, another trip into the state of Indiana, this time to Muncie to take on the Cardinals of Ball State. Eastern is 3-0 against Ball State, but they haven't played since 1970. Ball State has a tall quarterback in Riley Neal, 6'6", local kid, and he'll be starting his 12th game in a row. How does he challenge EKU?
Well, he's a really good quarterback. You looked at what he did a year ago, stepped in as a true freshman and started, I think it was the last 9 games, if I remember correctly. And he distributes the ball well, makes great decisions with the football, and he's deceptively athletic. You don't picture him being as athletic as he is. He takes off running, and he really can do something with his feet as well. So he's obviously got a lot of game experience as a true sophomore, starting 9 games, first couple games this year. He's got some very good threats to throw the ball to. The number 16 kid, I think he's an NFL player, and you notice that he's big, he's athletic, he does a great job of creating space, runs well, so he's certainly very good. And then their other 2 receivers are making plays as well, number 5, number 1. Those guys do a really nice job. They're running backs. I think that they have 2 very, very dynamic running backs that have run the ball very, very well these first 2 weeks of the season. So we're going to have to put people in the box to stop the running game because really they are very dynamic. They can make you miss. They can run over you, run past you. They're very good backs. So both of those guys are a 1-2 punch that we're going to have to keep people in the box to keep them from being able to just pound the ball on us. They've got a good amount of experience back up front. Both their tackles are experienced guys. They've started a lot of games. They're going into their 3rd year or more starting. Their center moved over from guard a year ago. He played a decent amount last year. So up front, offensively, they're pretty experienced as well. Defensively, they're linebackers. They're second level. They got 3 seniors, dynamic guys. They're all very, very good football players. And I think their front 4, they may not have the most number of starts under their belt, but you watch them play, they're good players. Both the ends make plays, come off the edge. They're not the tallest guys in the world, but they're very, very active. And then inside, they play a handful of guys that are strong, stout guys that still get a pass rush.
And their special teams, everybody's back, and they do not make penalties. Around the mid-30s, they were 3rd best in the country last year, so they don't hurt themselves.
Correct. Yeah, they do a good job. A year ago on kickoff return, they were very good on kickoff return. They had a couple really long ones. They had a touchdown, a long one. So they're dynamic back there. They got a running back and that receiver back there as their returners. Their punter's really good. They do a lot of things with him. And so they'll regular punt, they'll roll kick and punt it opposite. So they're very good on special teams. They got a blocked punt last week against Indiana, and they were really close on a couple others. So they're going to try to make plays on special teams. There's no question about it, and we got to make sure that we're seizing the opportunity and not allowing them to take any momentum in that portion of the game.
Okay, Mark, good luck at Ball State.
Thank you, Stas. Appreciate it.
All right, that game, by the way, will be on ESPN3. We'll also have it on the EKU Sports Network on radio and internet, and it will be Ball State in Eastern Kentucky, 3 o'clock on Saturday. Don't forget, keep up with EKU Sports wherever you are. Like and follow our channels on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. Thanks for joining us. We'll see you next week on Inside EKU Sports.